Hey, what's going on folks? My name's Gray and this is Consoletronics. Last time out we looked at the lightweights in the shape of the Game Boy and Game Gear. But before we move on to the heavyweight encounter between the SNES and the Meagdrive, we have the small matter of deciding who truly was the 8-bit king, as I pit Sega's Master System against the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now the NES ruled the American and Japanese regions with a fist of iron. So on paper, this isn't even a contest. But paper is a flimsy substance, and the Master System would enjoy great success in the two often overlooked markets like South America and Europe. In fact, big shout out to my Brazilian viewers. Make some noise, Brazil! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So let's get started. And as this graph clearly demonstrates, man, fuck that shit. This contest will be settled by what gamers truly want to see. Games, motherfucker, games. First round, platformers. So go ahead, Nintendo, impress me. You know, ever since the days of 8-bit, video game developers have been trying to make their games cinematic, more like the movies. I mention this because it leads nicely into Super Mario Bros., which I consider to be the Citizen Kane of the gaming world, and while its sequels would toy with and refine aspects of the gameplay, none would better it, because you cannot improve upon perfection. There was a time when the mere utterance of a few sounds, ko, na, mi, would stop whoever you said it to in their tracks, as they reminisced about some of the greatest video games of all time, and smiled. Those days are gone now, and the world of video games is a lesser place because of it. As a kid, I didn't think too much of Metroid. I thought it looked a bit like Turrican and said to myself, puh, how good could it be? It would be some years later that I played it, more out of curiosity than anything else, and it proved to me, as if more proof was needed, that I was an idiot when I was a kid. As my first Nintendo machine was a SNES, the Mega Man franchise I grew up with was Mega Man X, but delving back into the original 8-bit series has been a source of great enjoyment in recent weeks. Okay, I am impressed. Okay, Master System, what have you got? And we come inevitably to Sega's spiky blue bastard Sonic. Now, Sonic on the Master System was actually the last official release on the system for the US and Japan, but for us in Europe it was just another in a long list of quality releases. The game you're watching here is the first of a trilogy of quality titles on Sega's 8-bit Master System, and in my opinion, the best of the bunch. If there's one thing that pisses me off about gaming channels and YouTube in general, it's the way that many sit on the fence and won't say what they really feel, in case it makes anybody cross, or worse yet, it contradicts somebody else's opinion. Well, fuck it, let me show you how it's done. Wonder Boy 3 on the Master System is a better Metroidvania game than Metroid and or Castlevania. See? It's not hard to tell it like it is. It may be no Mario beta, but this early attempt by Sega to distinguish their Master System as a competent gaming console in its own right is no pushover in the overcrowded platform arena. Given away as a free built-in title before Sonic the Hedgehog came along, it was many Sega adopters, like myself, our first experience with the exciting new world of console gaming. It seems that in every video I upload recently, I've been banging on about how much I love this game. But when the game is this good, can you really blame me? Well, the opening salvos have been fired and both machines can lay claim to having put their noses in front. But we step up a gear now as we take a look at shoot 'em ups. Master System, you're up first. R-Type, that old Geiger-inspired arcade shooter that enthralled a generation, would see ports on quite literally every 8-bit system and beyond, but I consider the Master System version to be the best. What? Better than the 2 HuCard Conjob PC Engine version? You're goddamn right it is. This is the increasingly rare shooter Power Strike, only it isn't. It is in fact Celeste on the Master System, and very good it is too. Another shoot 'em up confused about its identity is Saigaya, but any old school shooter fan will of course see right through its disguise. It's Darius, and it's brilliant. I had to include this Meagdrive classic because firstly most don't even know the Master System had a respectable conversion grace it, and second, I just love Desert Strike, no matter what it's running on. Well, the Master System certainly didn't pull its punches in that round. So Nintendo, in the words of KSI, can you keep up? They don't make them like this anymore. It may be the granddaddy of the shoot 'em up genre, but Gradius will test the reflexes and skill of any whippersnapper who tries to step up to this Konami classic. The 4th video I uploaded on this channel was a review of this game. A late release for the NES, so it never left Japan, but if shoot 'em ups are your cup of tea, you simply have to play this. And I've only just realised, it's also a Konami game. Did someone mention Konami? Because it's a hat trick. Now some people might be a little confused by these great parodious games. Well, fret no longer. The title simply is Gradius Parody. Get it? Parodius. A tongue-in-cheek look at one of the hardest shoot 'em ups known to man, with cute references to older Konami games. Capcom's classic World War II themed arcade shoot 'em up comes to the NES in triumph. A forgotten gem that still manages to hold its own with its fantastic gameplay. Old school fun at its best. Very, very nice indeed. But what I want to know is, do either of these consoles feel the need for speed? Because next is driving games. Nintendo, you're in pole position. It might be old enough to be drawing its gaming pension, but Rad Racer on NES is still an enjoyable racer, and remains casts a long shadow over every other game, and oh well, right, if it'll shut you up, damn it! It's so bad. There, happy now? I would love to tell you in lengthy and vivid detail what it is I love about this game, but I can't, because I don't know why I love it so much. Seriously, play it yourself and you'll see what I mean. I pride myself on knowing more than your average YouTuber when it comes to retro gaming, and I genuinely haven't checked this out, but I believe Micro Machines here debuted on the NES, before finding greater fame on the 16-bits, particularly the Meagdrive with its weird cartridges with joypad ports on them. Anyway, NES Micro Machines is certainly the best 8-bit incarnation. It's excitey bikey! I haven't stopped playing this game since I started making this video. It is the same vibe as the old Mastertronic classic Kickstart 2, which I know many of my older UK viewers will certainly agree with. And it has a level editor. This game is worth owning a NES for. Well, Master System, you're gonna have to burn some serious rubber in order to top that. There's something about Outrun that I just can't put my finger on. Is it simply nostalgia, or is it really one of the best racing games of all time? It's certainly the best on the Master System. Another small-scale racer that has pretty good graphics and bucketfuls of gameplay. I turned my nose up at this game when I first got my Master System in favour of a game called Running Battle. Will I ever learn? I was originally going to show off the 1993 release and I think European exclusive GP Rider, but came to my senses in the nick of time to showcase the golden oldie Hang On. I don't know about you, but the feeling of speed in this game just hasn't been replicated. An awesome title. I loved the original Chase HQ. It was ported to just about everything. So I was surprised to find that its sequel, Special Criminal Investigation, only appeared on a handful of systems, the Master System being one. It's very short, but a lot of fun while it lasts. Considering the fact that between these two consoles there are quite literally thousands of games, I thought I'd show off some random titles that have held my interest in the course of making this video. When I saw the title, I thought it was a port of the Amiga platformer. Instead, it's a puzzle game. Actually, it may be one of the best puzzle games I've ever played. Again, I was suckered in by the title, but thankfully it's a nutty Japanese breakout clone that I have spent whole days playing. It's incredible. You all knew I would show off the most famous boxing title of all time, but I wasn't sure what to categorise it under, so I've shoehorned it in here. When people question me on why I play old video games, this is one of the titles I cite as a reason. The whole thing comes across as one man's idea in a moment of madness that wound up being developed, and that is something that we'll never see happen again. An original platformer based on the blasphemous biopic Dragon the Bruce Lee story. And it's not bad. I loved the Meagdrive version of this. It may have been slow and at times fiddly, but was something unique at least. The Master System version does not disappoint. You'd be forgiven for thinking that this was an early Meagdrive game. The graphics are indeed some of the best I've seen on the system, but it's bloody hard. A weird one, but that's no bad thing as we have already seen. Top-down shooter action involving time travel and other staples. Definitely worth checking out. After that quick diversion, it's back to our feature presentation, as now we come to the business end of proceedings, with action games. Surprisingly, not a lot of people know that this is in fact Commando 2, and while a Master System port is a cut-down version of its Meagdrive cousin, it's still an enjoyable title. I had a lot of fun with this choplifter rip-off when I was a kid. Definitely not for everyone, but if you give it a chance, it's pretty good. Classic Sega arcade influenced by a certain James Cameron movie. While not a patch on the coin-op original, it's still fun to play in its 8-bit form. One of the very few games that actually showcased the graphical potential of the Master System. A lack of two-player mode is the only grievance I have with this game. I think I would very probably have been lynched if I didn't include this game. Just as well then I also consider it a timeless addition to the Nintendo games library. My first exposure to this series was on the 3DS, but I soon pulled my Famicom Twin out of the cupboard and got myself a copy of the original. It's better than you think. Prepare to be shocked. This game, known as Little Samson in the West, is a blinding game. Don't believe me? Then try it for yourself and see what you've been missing out on. I had never heard of this game before making this video, but bloody hell it's good. Seriously, if you only check out one game that I've shown off today, make it this one. And at last, we come to the final leg of this epic battle, with barely a fag paper between the two consoles. So it's only right we settle this by looking at some truly epic games. Role-playing games. Nintendo, don't get cocky. Well, I'm sure by now most people have stopped watching the video, so it's safe for me to admit that I don't care much for the Zelda games on NES. Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, I love, but the originals don't really do anything for me, but I've included it out of respect for its impact. Like almost every other Westerner, the first Final Fantasy I played was 7, and although I completed the remakes of the older titles, the original NES outings are just too primitive for me to play. Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior, whichever you prefer, is the first true console RPG and set in stone many of the trademarks that would define the genre. Is it really 30 years ago this year that this game was released? I've never seen any other video game held in such reverence, awe and high esteem as the sequel to this game, Mother 2 aka Earthbound. This is my first time seeing the original and I've just been accosted by a lamp. Looks nice though. Master System, this is your last chance. Make it count. Let me just say this about Phantasy Star. It's the greatest 8-bit role-playing game ever. Anyone who says otherwise is demented. Control Alice on her one-woman quest to avenge her brother's death and bring peace to the universe in this groundbreaking sci-fi RPG. A simplistic but very playable action-adventure with nice graphics that complement the gameplay very well. Not a very well known title even with Sega fans, but one worth checking out. When compiling this list, Miracle Warriors was a name that people kept bringing up, but it's not exactly an easy game to pick up and play, so I stopped just short of recommending it, unless role-playing games are your thing. Well, this game surprised me. It's reminiscent of those old computer games where you had to light up stages by running around a maze. Only here you get to fight scorpions, frogs and other beasties in a medieval setting. It's so good, it kicked Gorvelius off this list. Woo! This video's ended up a lot longer than I had hoped, but I wanted to leave no stone unturned in my quest to decide which of these consoles was the greatest, based not on sales or nostalgia, but on games. And I've made my choice. It probably comes as no surprise in the end. Its opponent put up stubborn resistance, but ultimately couldn't compete. The winner is, of course, the Sega Master System. Many might disagree, citing the fact that the NES had better third-party support, and while this is true, Nintendo's business practices back then, forcing companies to develop games exclusively for them, hurt not just the Master System, but the video game industry as a whole. NEC's TurboGrafx-16 flopped because they couldn't get a fraction of their Japanese games to America, and seeing this, Fujitsu shelved their plans to release their FM Towns Marty to the West. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments section. I look forward to reading them. But we're not done. My Meagdrive vs Super Nintendo battle is waiting in the wings, and so far it's 1-1 between Sega and Nintendo. With this, the 16 battle will ultimately decide who was the better company. Look forward to it. So my name's Gray, you've been watching Consoletronics. I'll have some more videos up very soon. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.